is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
Oh my goodness, there are so many options on this song. The melody is really, really, really repetitive, and there aren't that many chords in here. We're in the key of C, and we're pretty much just using the 4 chords you'd expect. C, F, G, and A minor. So the original chords are written like this, sounding something like...
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
Okay, so because that's all the chords to it, it's going to be difficult to do a piano cover of this song that doesn't sound extremely boring. And it's just... I don't know, maybe some people like that. That's annoying to me. Like trying to play rap on the piano or something like that. Although some of the samples are great. The actual notes for the lyrics. So we'll see. I don't know. We definitely have a lot of space to fill here. And let's see if when we go to learnpianolive.com/reharm, we can get any great ideas. First thing we want to do is add 7s, 9s, and 6s, which are the same as 13s depending on how you voice the chord. So that would be like on the C chord. Since we're in the key of C, it's just going to be all white notes. So we just take the root of the chord and split it in 2. We go in either direction, and we'll come up with a 7 and a 9 for the chord. So this voicing is 7, 9, 3, 5. For a C major 7 is what it ends up being. But we just do that with all the chords. The G gets split in both directions. On an F chord, the F gets split in both directions. And on an A minor chord, the A gets split in both directions. So that'll give us 7s and 9s for all these. And then we can additionally, if we want to, take the 7 down to the next note and then call it a 6, or we could call it a 13, like if we're going to do this one right here. Something like that. Anyway, so we want to add in those additional notes, and then we'll talk about playing the 5 before any chord. So just doing that much, not the 5 before any chord, but just adding in the 7s, 9s, 6s, 13s, we could...
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. Ooh, 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 ooh. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
So I haven't changed any of the chords at all, but we should add in the 5 of lots of these chords. So all you're going to do is go down to this circle of fifths here. If you've been to learnpianolive.com/circle of fifths, then you probably already have one of your handy dandy multi-purpose wheels. But if not, that's fine, because this thing right here is all you need to find the 5s. All we're going to do is say, if we're going to a G chord, for example, what would lead into a G? Well, the one right next to it. It's this one right here. The circle of fifths tends to want to move in a counterclockwise direction. So if you take the one that is before it moving counterclockwise, then you'll find the 5 of any chord. So D is the 5 of G. And that just means we can play a D7, and that's going to move nicely into a G. If we had an A chord of some kind, like an A minor, then an E would move nicely into an A. So like an E into an A, so E7. So we can just go in and throw in all of those 5s of each of those chords. So then this would be E7 would lead into this A right here. C7 would lead in this F. I'm going to really overdo this here because why not? We got lots of time. Now, right here, we've got a G into a C, and a G is the one that comes before the C. So if we go back down to the chart, what leads into a C, a G, and we're already sitting on that one, so we don't really have anything to add in there. Here, an E7 would lead into an A minor. A C7 would lead into an F. A D7 would lead into a G. And a G, again, leading back into that C. Again, just with adding in that much stuff, we come up with something that sounds like, we'll see.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you.
I forgot to do the D.
And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
Okay, so with the exception of the D that I forgot to do, all right, whatever. So that's the idea. You put in the 5 before any chord, and it's kind of allowed. Unless it sounds terrible, then take it out. All these sound decent-ish. So we'll leave them the way they are. That way we've got lots of 5s, lots of dominant chords in the song. Real quick here, let me distinguish, though. It's a 5 chord, meaning that it is the 5 of that key. So if we were in the key of A minor, the 5 of that key would be an E7. So the E7 is the 5 of A. So that's what I mean by a 5 chord. That's different than a 7 chord, which is what this E is. It's an E7 because it's an E chord, E major, and the 7 right here is a whole step below the root. It's an E chord, but the additional 4th note that I've added in is a whole step below the root. We've got entire workshops on how to build chords and stuff, but this is called an E7 or an E dominant or an E dominant 7 or the 5 of A. Okay, cool. It's also the 5 of A minor. So the same chord is both in the key of A major and in the key of A minor. So whatever A version you were going to, an E7 will get you there. Okay, so that's why I'm referring to it as a 5 chord, even though it specifically says 7. And I'm probably not going to say either one of those. I would just say E dominant, which means that it's an E7 chord, which means that it's acting as a 5 in the key of A. All right, so bunch of weird numbers and terminology and stuff there. But now that we've got that out of the way, we can use this thing right here. If we go to learnpianolive.com/reharm, right there, then we've got these guys here: chord-based reharmonization, melody-based reharmonization, and baseline-based reharmonization. I've got a feeling we're going to have time for all of these because there's just so much space in this song. So on long chords, I'm so glad this was the first one. Oh my goodness. On long chords, we can alternate with the 5 of each of these. So that means we already did the whole what is the 5 of this, what is the 5 of that thing. Well, if you've got a really long chord like we do at the beginning, then you can just alternate between that chord, which is in this case is a C, and the 5 of that. So the 5 of C, you could either go down to the circle fifths, find out it's a G, or in the key of C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, just go to the 5, and that's our 5 chord. So that means right here we could go G or G7, and then just back and forth, C and G7, C, and then at that point we're moving on to the next thing. So that might be interesting here.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me.
Now, the pace of this change doesn't have to necessarily be one measure per chord. We could have done something else. So we could have gone like...
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow
2 beats on each of
with
them.
all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me.
In fact, I think I like that. And the G that I'm using is actually a G suspended because there's so many C's in there. And here's my G chord. And so I'm just playing this C, adding it in. But the way that I'm voicing it, I'm leaving out the 3. So this ends up looking like a G suspended. So I'm just altering my chord a little bit to make sure that I don't have any places where the chord, the A note that in the chord that I'm playing is a half step away from one of the notes in the melody, especially if it's going to get repeated 3 million times. So one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all. And already, like it has some nice movement. This is a nice thing too right here, but I'm not picking it. I should be picking them randomly. Sorry, I just got carried away with that. So somewhere in the beginning, we're going to do a C and a G7 thing up there. Okay, so then, thank you, randomness, for... oh, you gave me the same one here. All right, cool. We already did that. But we could do altered dominant chords when we're pointing to a diatonic minor. So a diatonic minor chord is just a minor chord that shows up naturally inside of the key. So, for example, in the key of C, that's the key we're in, has a major chord, a minor chord, a minor chord, a major chord, a major chord, a minor chord, and a diminished chord. If we just go straight through the scale, straight through the chord, and the key, and we don't change anything. For example, a C minor chord is not diatonic to the key of C. This would not show up naturally in the key of C. Doesn't mean they would never be allowed, but it does break the rules of the key of C. So a C minor chord is a minor chord, but it's not diatonic to the key that we're in. So D minor, E minor, and A minor would all work. So if we have one of those, we could use an altered chord leading up to it. The only minor chord that we're going to have in this song is an A minor. So that means that what we do is when we're pointing to that one, when we have the 5 of that, and we've already done that several times here, we're going to use an altered chord right here, which just means we've got an E chord, an E7 chord, because it's acting like a 5, and so it's a dominant chord. Maybe some of that made sense after our explanation from before. And then we could play 1, 3, 5, 7, and then we'd have a 9, and then like an 11, and then like a 13. Like that'd be our normal 9s, 11s, and 13s. But what we can do is start altering these. So that 9, we can make it a sharp 9, or we can make it a flat 9, or both, or whatever. And then we could take this 11, and then we could raise that, make it a sharp 11. And we could take that 13 and make it flat. Any of that stuff. Which probably that's too much. But if we just take this 3 and we put it up here and just use like those chords, those notes, that could be an E7 alt to an A minor. So we'll go E alt to A minor because A minor is the only diatonic minor chord that we have in this thing. So E7 alt. Now technically, I mean, you can try alt chords on any of these, and I just said that now, so now I have to try it. Let's see. All of the dominant chords, we're gonna make them all altered.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the
I don't like that at all. Just on the E. Those sound terrible.
Baby, that's the fun of you.
I do like that on all of the A minor ones. So all the ones that point to the diatonic minor, they sound great. The other ones, I don't like at all. So we'll just stick with it the way it's supposed to be. Also, the extension of dominant chords, which we have already done a lot. However, we could go in and throw in like just a single flat 9 or a sharp 9 or a sharp 11 or a flat 13. Let's pick one at random, a sharp 11, and I'm going to put it on the 5th dominant chord, whatever that is. I don't know. I should have thought this through more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This one is C7. That's, okay, sure, whatever. C7, sharp 11 is going to be like this. I don't think I'm going to like that at all. That's fun of me. Yeah, I'm not going to like that at all. I don't like any of these. I really like it on the one that points to the diatonic minor, but that's I don't get that option. Well, let's put it right here. No. Whatever. G7, because that's already a G. We're just going to put a sharp 11 on that one. And take this one out, because that sounds horrific. Well, I'm not liking the way this is turning out so far. But, who knows?
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
Nope, sorry, I can't hang on to that one. It works out sometimes, especially when pointing to diatonic minor chords, but none of those spots wasn't working for me. So we could do the flat 9. Here we go. G7 flat 9 for that one. Yeah, why not? We could do a D7. Oh, sharp 9? Bad idea. We'll do a D7 flat 9. D7 flat 9. And I'll take this one out over here because I'm not taking that at all. Okay, so then we're just throwing in sharp 9s, flat 9s, whatever, on dominant chords to test them out. They usually sound, altering the extensions usually sounds best when it's pointing at a diatonic minor, as we already talked about. So exchanging relative majors and minors. So in order to do that, we can just come down here. Probably the easiest way, if you don't already know your relatives, is to just go to this chart right here and trade in 1s for 6s. You'll notice that all the 6s are all minor chords and all the 1s are all major chords. So, for example, anywhere we have a C, we can play an A minor. or anywhere we have an A minor, we could play a C, or anywhere we have an F, we could play a D minor, or anywhere we have a G, we could play an E minor. And I think that's all of the chords that we possibly have. So let's come back up here and see what we want to do. We could do, I don't know. Don't pick them on purpose, Jamin. Just pick them at random. Let's take out this one and this one and this one. Man, no. Yeah, we'll leave it at that. 2 of those. I was going to take out this one, but that G is the G that we were just messing with that wants to move to that C, so I don't want to do that. But the relative for this one would be an E minor, and the relative for this one would be a D minor. Now, this will be interesting here because we're moving from a D minor to a D7, so we're going from that chord to that chord. And over here, this will be interesting because we're going from a D7 flat 9, which is really going to want to move to a G, and we're moving to an E minor, which might sound good. I don't know. We'll see. We can try it out.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me.
No. Oh, I know why.
You're the only one of you.
I like that
Baby,
one a lot.
that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
Okay. So this guy up here, the reason this did not work out is because that's the melody, and my chord is just sitting here as this. And we just said you should alter your chords so that you don't have a note in your chord that's a half step away from the melody note. Well, one of the notes is an E, so that's good because F and E and F and E and F and E back and forth. But the first one is the one that it like lands on, and so it's the one that is emphasized F, F, F. Now before, when this was a G, it wasn't as big a deal because that's my chord, and it's not a half step away from any of my chord tones. That one is a whole step away, and in fact it's a G7, so that one's actually in the chord. Now that I've changed it into an E minor, when I put that 9 on there, that one is a half step away from the melody, and the root of the chord is a half step away from the melody. So that's not going to work. It's not going to have an E anything really in that spot because that's just going to be, yeah, my root is a half step away from the melody. So there's nothing I can do about that one. So that was just a bad idea. There we go. So we'll leave that one the way it is. And the only relative that we exchanged was that F. And so now I'm looking for something else that I could do. But I guess we could do this. We'll take this one out. So that one's going to be an A minor. Yeah, sure, why not? We'll have an A minor there. So we at least have 2 exchanges. And then let's do one more of these things. Alter dominant when pointing to diatonic minor. We did that one, thank you. With all those options, you'd think that they could come up with something like this. Add a 2-5 or a 6-2-5 or a 3-6-2-5 before a chord. So let's pick one where we've got some of those options. So I don't want to mess with the top because we already have that thing going. Maybe we do it there. Okay. Well, what I was going to do originally was pick something down here that had a little bit longer of a move. But these are all... These are all kind of long-ish. We could do this one right here. Yeah, we could do that. Let's throw it in right here. And then we're going to throw it in right here, going into this C. All right, so here's the idea. Same thing we did before, going 5-1, but we're going to go, instead of, for this first one, I want to get to this C right here. So the goal is C. The goal is C. And you probably already know at this point without even going to the chart, the thing that's going to lead into a C is a G. So the question is, what would lead into a G? Well, a D would lead into a G, which would lead into a C. What would lead into a D? Well, an A would lead into a D that would lead into a G that would lead into a, what would lead into it? So we could go like E to A to D to G to C. That's called a 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, or a 5 of 5 of 5 of 5 of 1. Okay. Don't worry about any of that. What you can do is just come in here and go, all right, my goal is C. So I'm going to pretend like C is 1. In this case, C actually is 1 too, so it's kind of convenient like that. But we can just pretend like C is 1, and we're just going to go 3, 6, 2, 5, 1 in that order. E minor to A minor to D minor to G to C, and we'll just throw those in, try to land them all. Here we go, E minor to A minor to D minor to G7 to C. So that's a 3, 6, 2, 5, 1. You don't have to do all of those. You can do just a 5-1 or just a 2-5-1 or just a 6-2-5-1. But I chose to do all 3 of them there. And then the other place, we're going to go into this D right here. So pretending that we're going into D minor, the key of D minor, back here, we're going to replace this star with the 2-5-1 of D minor. So in the key of D minor is 1. We're just going to pretend for a second that we're in the key of D minor, even though we're not. The 2 would be an E half diminished, and then a 5 would be an A. So E half diminished to A to D minor. So that's what we're going to stick in right here. This is just a 2-5-1 because we have a shorter period of time here. So we're going to go E half diminished to A7, and at this point you could use one of those flat 9s or sharp 9s or altered chords, whatever, because we are pointing to a minor chord here, a D minor, which is also happens to be a diatonic minor in the key of C. So E half diminished, A7 flat 9 to D minor to D7 to G. That'll be interesting. Let's see what this sounds like.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me.
I went too fast through that. I wrote them in wrong. I promise that you'll never find another baby, come to a lover. I promise that yeah, that's what I should have done. Okay, sorry. Timing got messed up there.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me.
Sorry.
You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
Okay, cool. So there's some stuff in there. Let's do one more of these. It's already kind of livening up a little bit. 2-5 tritone substitutions. We haven't even talked about tritone substitutions. Seems to come up in every one of these lessons, though, and you all seem to enjoy it. So let's go ahead and tritone substitute some things. So here's the idea. Take any dominant chord, and then you just pick the tritone of that dominant chord, and you play that chord instead. An example would be, we got a couple of right here. Let's pick both of them. I was thinking about this chord or this chord. We could honestly do this chord as well. Let's go ahead and do the first two that I said. We'll leave this as just an E alt. So the C7, we're going to pick the tritone sub of that, which just means you're going to take that note and you're going to go 6 half steps in either direction. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, would land you on an F sharp, no matter which direction you go, which is also happens to be 3 whole steps away from these 1, 2, 3. 3 whole steps, 3 tones, tritone substitute. We're just gonna play the F sharp 7 instead. That's the extent of the tritone sub. F sharp 7. And then down here, instead of a D7, we would play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, an A flat 7 instead of a D7. So we're just gonna play that. And then G. So with that, we haven't 2-5'd the tritone substitutions yet, but first we have to get the tritone substitutions. These are 5 chords that we just put in tritone substitutions for. We just played the chord that was a tritone away instead of the dominant chord that was listed. So.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Maybe that's the fun of me. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
Okay, so that's a tritone substitution. Then we're going to treat that tritone substitution as if it's a 5 chord, because it is a 5 chord, because it's a dominant chord like we said before. It's got a 7 on it, so we can pretty much assume that it is acting like a 5. That's not true, but we're going to treat it like it's true from right now. It's true enough. Yes, yeah, we're just going to treat them all the dominant chords as if they're 5 chords. So then we're going to 2-5 those dominant chords. So the question is, well, if that was a 5 chord, for example, what were our 2 tritone subs we came up with? An F sharp 7 and an A flat 7. So the question is, where is it that F sharp and A flat are 5 chords? And right here, we see that an F sharp is a 5 in the key of B, where C sharp minor is the 2. The other one is A flat, when A flat is a 5, and E flat minor is a 2. So E flat minor is going to lead us to the A flat, and the C sharp minor is going to lead us to the F sharp. So back to here, C sharp minor 7 is going to lead us to the F sharp, and down here, the E flat minor is going to lead us to the A flat. That'll be interesting. I'm not gonna like that one, I don't think, but let's see. I'm often surprised.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. Ooh, 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 ooh. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
I don't like either one of those. Man, maybe it's the way I voiced it. No, it is the fact that I've got an E in the melody, and it's the same problem before. That's my chord, and she's singing all the notes. Man. Yeah, there's just nothing gonna make that work. Well, that's a bummer. What about this other one? Did the melody do the same thing to that one? No, I've got an A right there. And I could play that one as long as and I've got 2 beats there, so that's fine. There's nothing going on when I'm actually playing the C sharp minor 7. So I think that one's going to work out. So let's leave that one, because this half rest right here is beat 3 and 4, and that's where the C sharp minor and the F sharp 7 are going to go, and there's nothing being sung right there. And then this one down here, we're going to get rid of it because this F and E just totally clash with that thing. However, why didn't that clash with the D7? That's cool. Kind of. Man, I wish it was that. We'll leave that D7 that was there before. That sounded pretty good. It's just when we tritone subbed it, then things got funky with the melody. And you always got to pay attention to the melody on these things, unless it's not a recording and you can actually work with the singer ahead of time and maybe alter some of the melody. Or if you're playing as a piano solo, then you could do that as well. There's a lot more chords in it now. It does not look nearly as boring as it did before. And I think that's about all we're going to do with the chord-based reharmonization. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the melody real quick. And it goes straight to the reharm chart. As always, you know, it's a 1 in 4 chance, but it seems like 100% of the time it goes to the reharm chart. So to explain what's going on here, you just pick your melody note across the top, whatever it is that you're wanting to pick a chord for, and then you've got a bunch of chords underneath that would the melody would work for. So, for example, if you had an E and a C and an A, and you wanted, you know, special unique chords, it could go in those spots right there. Then we'd go down here and we'd say, well, an E, what would be cool about an E? We could pick any of these chords down here in that entire column. And then same thing for a C, and then same thing for an A. So here's what I'd like to think about as we're doing this, because the next thing we're supposed to be doing is the baseline, based reharmonization, and this is all essentially just thinking about what is the root of the chord doing, what is the bass line doing. And so we're going to take that in consideration, thinking that we're going to land on a C at the end, unless we don't. Maybe we put another chord here too. Let's do that. Let's start with this C. We'll find something unique and special and cool to put as our last chord, and then we'll try to lead into it with some other really cool root movements. So a C as our melody, we could pick any of these. I'm just picking random chords here. Let's say there's so many of these I don't like. In this context, we could try a D flat. We could try a D flat major 7. Maybe. Instead of substituting it, we could just interpolate it. So that just means that instead of taking a chord out and putting this one in its place, we'll just stick this one in and scoot other things off to the side. So a D flat major 7 is one of the chords in the column for the melody being a C, because the C is the major 7 of a D flat major 7. So that's where we're ending. D flat major 7. And then we're going to take this C and put it over here and go C major 7. So we'll go at the end. So we still retain the C. Okay, so then what could we do that would be cool that would lead into a D flat? Bass line wise, we can move by pretty much any interval that is consistent. So we can move up, like if we wanted to come up, we got 3 chords, we could come up by whole step. So we could come up with a G, an A, and a B, and a D flat. I promise that nobody's gonna. Promise that nobody's gonna. So as a bass line, G, A, B, D flat. Or we could go by minor thirds if we want. So we could go E, like that. So there's just 3 half steps in each case. Or we could go chromatically. We've got 3 chords, 1, 2, 3, and then we land on the D flat. Da, 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 da. That would be kind of cool. Why does the rhythm on that feel so weird? I promise. Oh, we need another chord there. Ha! Of course. There we go. So we'd have to start on an F. That's even weirder. I like that. Let's do that. So we're going to go by half step. I left out one of the beats. I felt it, but I just didn't see it there. So we're going to go, our root movements are going to be, we're going to start on F. Take out these X's. Here we go. We're going to go F. Promise that nobody's gonna love you like me. So this is just taking a look at the bass line, and now I got to use my chart to say, well, what kind of an F chord would have an E in the melody? And the answer is, if an E was in the melody and I wanted F as my bass, I go to an F chord right here. F major 7 has an E in the melody. Hopefully you can see that. And so F major 7. So F major 7, and then my next problem is, well, I need a C, but I need an E in the bass. So where could I have a C as the melody? C is the melody, and an E in the bass. Down here, I could use an E augmented 7, an E augmented major 7, or an E7 flat 13. I think I want to use that E augmented 7. I like that one. You can try them all out though. So E augmented 7. And then E flat. So I need an E flat as my root, but my melody is an A. So my melody is an A, and so we're in this column right here. I need an E flat as my root. I can play an E flat. Major with a sharp 11. Yeah, sure. Which ends up looking a lot like a B flat major 7 over E flat, since I can't reach all the notes. And yeah, sure. E flat major, sharp 11. Which would also work. Yeah. So E flat, major 7, sharp 11. And then I've got a G and an A, and I need a D as my root here. So this is my last one using the chart. A G or an A. Now, of the two of them, the more important one is the G, because that's the one that lands right on the beat like we talked about before. I had the F and the E, and the E was in the chord, but the one we landed on first was the F, so it felt like it was the dominant one. Dominant not as in a 7 chord, but like it was the one that was dominating the phrase. And so I needed the F to be inside of that chord, wherever that was before, where we tried to play something that was, I don't remember. Yeah, I was probably trying to play an E something, and I had that as my melody. So in this case, the G is going to be the more important one. If we can find a chord, though, that has a G and an A with a D as the root, that would be super cool. So I need, first of all, a G, and then a D chord. Could be a D suspended, like that, or a D11 if I want to. I like that a lot. D11. And it has a G and the A in there. Okay. So we're going to go D11. And I promise that nobody's gonna... Okay, there's a lot going on right there. I don't remember what we did for the rest of the song. We spent so much time on that melody there. But that's kind of the idea with that stuff. And we haven't talked about the bass line yet, or really messing with it to iron out all the other stuff. So let's first just do this. See what we got.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. Ooh, 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 ooh. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
I like the move. Da, 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 da. But da, 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 da. Okay, sure. We'll call that good for right now and go back to here. We're talking about the bass lines. So, sure. I'm supposed to spin the dial instead of telling you what I want. Well, I'll tell you what I want in a little bit. But actually, what I wanted was pedal tones in the bass. So this is really convenient. At the beginning, okay, pedal tones in the bass. Generally, pedal, if you haven't done this before, trying the 1 or trying the 5. Pedal tone, not meaning the pedals on the piano, meaning that a note is going to be repeated over and over and over and over. Even though the chords change, the root down here is not going to change. So where I'd probably use this is at the beginning. I've been wanting to do this since the long time ago. I was playing and it was like, oh yeah, but we haven't talked about that yet. Fortunately, we just spun it on the first one. So we can either pedal the 1, meaning just hold down the 1 no matter what happens in the right hand. One of these things is not like the others. I'm ignoring the chord entirely up here and just playing a bunch of that. So that would sound like this if I just pedal the 1.
One of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only
so
one
as you can
of
tell,
me.
like it starts to get not only tiring, but it doesn't fit as well for all the chords. That's pedaling the 1. You can also pedal the 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Just hanging on to the 5 underneath.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me.
I forgot to not pedal it there at the end, but so yeah, that would be over a G. And this is my favorite one, and this is the one that I'm going to pick. I knew I was going to pick it from the beginning, but had to go random because otherwise y'all complain. So this is C over G, and then G over G, which you don't really need to say because the G already is over G, but just to show you that everything is going to be over G here. C over G, and then here we can get back into the regular chords the way they were written. So that would sound something like this.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. Ooh, 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 ooh. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
Okay, so I'm getting better at that last line there. So you can hear the pedal tones in there, and you can try it on, different sections of the song and stuff. But I just could tell at the beginning, so it's just going back and forth, that my bass was going to want to hang out on one of them and just wait for the chord to come back. In general, if you pedal the 1 of the key, then it's going to have the effect, to me, feels like it's pulling the whole song back to it. Like there's an anchor at home, and no matter how far out you go, it's going to pull you back in. And then pedaling on the 5 is going to have the opposite feeling, where it's like no matter what you do, even if you play a 1 chord, there's still like this suspense of like, we're not home yet. And everything else that you do inside the key as long as I'm playing a 5 down here, whatever other chord I play, even at 1, it's like, well, he's not done yet until I go to the 1 in the bass. So the in general is kind of the feel of the 1 and the 5, and you can pedal other things too. You don't have to just pedal the 1 and the 5, but those are going to be the most common ones to start out trying. Okay, so then that's bass movements, and let's just go ahead and jump to the last part, which is where I just change stuff. Like if I was actually going to do a reharm, trying to change as little as possible here to make this thing kind of work for me, because there are a couple little sections that sound funky. Let me play through it, and then we'll stop wherever it sounds too odd, and we'll fix something. Or try.
One of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh.
Right here.
I'm the only
I don't
one
like
of
it.
me.
I don't like it. I thought I did like the F sharp. Maybe it's... No. So what I want to do here is change this one to, I'm going to substitute out this F for a D minor. The reason that's allowed is it's the relative. We're going to talk about the relatives. And then I'm going to change this into the 5 of D minor, which 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is an A major. And then I can do the 2, 5, 1 thing that we talked about before. Did I already do that somewhere else? I feel like I did. That's the exact same move we did down here. I substituted out the F and put in the D minor. That's probably why my head is hearing that. Okay, so let's just do this then. I'm going to go A7 over C sharp. Yeah, we'll just do that. So instead of going 2, 5, 1 like we did before, down to the bottom where we're going E half diminished to A 7 flat 9, I'm just gonna go that thing. All right. And this thing right here. I feel like that thing needs a D minor in front of it too. I feel like that would be, baby, that's the fun of me. I know that's not what the original song is, so me saying the G doesn't belong there is kind of funky because they're making more money than I am. So they're definitely the right ones, but I'm going to like the D minor there more. And so we're going to go, baby, that's the fun of me. Which means that I need to do something to get into that D minor, which I'm just hanging out a lot on that D minor. That kind of scares me. Maybe I can just do that. I'll just walk that D minor to D minor major 7 to D minor 7 to G. And maybe that will help me take up some of the time on that D minor. Maybe that, yeah, okay. So that in this A minor was boring to me too, but I think now with all the movement in there and pushing that G over to that side, that's gonna help things out. Let's see if that sounds any better to me. Sorry if you don't like it.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. Ooh,
couple things here real quick. Same thing here. This should be an F over G or a D minor to a G. It's the same issue that I had over on this measure over here. I don't like the over a G7. Maybe if I was playing as more of as a dominant chord. In the recording, in theirs, it's first of all faster and it's like a lot more bubbly and stuff. And this is all kind of dark-ish, and so I don't like that just straight up dominant feel in this as the actual 5 of the key. It feels too hokey or something. So baby, that's a fun. So it's like a G suspended, which is the same thing as F over G. Yeah, would stress me on that one. G. What did we say for that one? How was I? Yeah. Okay, let's see if any of that is the thing. Maybe this is the last time through.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors.
Oh, by the way, what's written here is not what I'm playing. C over G to G suspended to C over G. We talked about this before, but just in case you're joining us right here, you fast forwarded G suspended, C over G to G suspended. Okay.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. Ooh, 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 ooh. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
Cool. At the end, I want a sharp 11. And F sharp 11. I just like the sound of it. And then the other thing was, this thing right here. So going from this G, I'm just playing an A flat diminished, which is essentially the 5 of A. This is essentially like an E7 flat 9. But I'm just playing the 3 of the E down here. So at that point, it just becomes an A flat diminished. There's no point in calling it an E7 flat 9 over G sharp, which is just a G sharp fully diminished chord. Okay, that might be it. And this is really sounding nice. I like it a lot. Not that there was anything wrong with the original, Miss Swift.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. Ooh, 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 ooh. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you. And I promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
Okay, one more time. I think this might be it.
But one of these things is not like the others.
I gotta get those right
like
in the
a
left hand. Starts with this. Okay, yeah.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. that's the fun of you, and the promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
One more time. This one I always end up playing as a G suspended, so we'll leave it as a G suspended. There we go. Okay, this is the one.
But one of these things is not like the others, like a rainbow with all of the colors. Baby doll, when it comes to a lover, I promise that you'll never find another like me. Ooh, 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 ooh. I'm the only one of me. Baby, that's the fun of me. You're the only one of you. Baby, that's the fun of you, and the promise that nobody's gonna love you like me.
That was unexpectedly fun. I was kind of dreading this song, but that was kind of fun. I'm gonna let you go try some of this stuff out on your own. I'm probably gonna come back and play this one.